New York City, 1989, a city on the edge. Crack cocaine had turned neighborhoods into war zones. Racial tensions were at a boiling point, and the streets of Brooklyn were about to witness something that would shake the entire nation. Before we get into tonight's story, I need you to understand something. This isn't just a crime story. This is a story about what happens when hate goes unchecked, when a whole community looks the other way, and when an innocent kid ends up paying the ultimate price for something he had absolutely nothing to do with. His name was Yusef Hawkins. He was 16 years old. He had his whole life ahead of him. And on the night of August 23, 1989, he made one simple decision that he could never take back. He got on a subway train headed to Bensonhurst. This is his story, and once you hear it, you won't forget it. Welcome to Street Chronicles TV. Street Chronicles TV, Episode 1, Wrong Block, Wrong Night, The Murder of Yusef Hawkins, August 23, 1989, Brooklyn, New York. A 16-year-old kid from East New York just wanted to buy a used car. He never made it home. His name was Yusef Hawkins. And what happened to him that night didn't just shake Brooklyn, it set the entire city on fire. This is his story. Chapter 1, Setting the Scene. It was a hot summer night in New York City, the kind of night where the streets stay alive long after the sun goes down. Yusef Hawkins was just a regular teenager, quiet, humble, the kind of kid who stayed out of trouble. He lived in East New York, one of Brooklyn's toughest neighborhoods, but he wasn't a street kid. He was just a boy trying to find his way. That night, he and 3 friends saw an ad for a used Pontiac being sold in Bensonhurst, a predominantly Italian-American neighborhood on the other side of Brooklyn. They hopped the subway, thinking it would be a quick trip. Look at the car, maybe make a deal, head back home. Simple, innocent, normal. But Bensonhurst that night was anything but normal. Chapter 2. The trap was already set. Just blocks away from where Yusef and his friends were headed, something dangerous was brewing. An 18-year-old white girl named Gina Feliciano had recently thrown a birthday party in the neighborhood. She had invited Black and Hispanic friends, and the men in the neighborhood were furious. Rumors spread that she was dating a black man. That was enough to set things off. A group of 20 to 40 white men gathered in the streets. They armed themselves with baseball bats, golf clubs, and handguns. They were waiting, ready for blood. They weren't waiting for Yusef Hawkins specifically. They were waiting for any black face to walk through. And then Yusef and his friends turned the corner. Chapter 3. The night everything changed. Yusef and his friends walked straight into the mob without knowing they were waiting for a black person to attack. Several white men surrounded them immediately, some carrying baseball bats. There was no argument, no words exchanged, no chance to explain. They were just there to look at a car. Yusef was shot twice in the chest. He was later pronounced dead at Maimonides Medical Center. He was 16 years old. His friends ran for their lives. The mob quietly disappeared back into their neighborhood like nothing happened. Chapter 4. Brooklyn Erupts. The news spread through New York City like wildfire. A crowd of 300 demonstrators marched through Bensonhurst just days after the murder. They were met with jeers, racist chants, and intense resistance from white residents lining the streets. The Reverend Al Sharpton led march after march through Bensonhurst demanding justice. The tension was unlike anything the city had seen in years, but then the courtroom delivered a gut punch. Chapter 5. The Justice That Wasn't. Joseph Fama, the shooter, was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 32 years in prison, but the ringleader, Keith Mondello, was acquitted of murder and manslaughter entirely. He walked on the most serious charges. Out of 30 white teenagers in that mob that night, only 2 ended up going to jail. The community was devastated, and then it got worse. While a march was being organized to protest the light sentences, Al Sharpton himself was stabbed in a Bensonhurst schoolyard by a man named Michael Riccardi. Sharpton survived, but the message was clear. Some people wanted this story buried. Chapter 6. The Secret That Changed Everything. For years, the story seemed closed, but in 2005, a bombshell dropped that nobody saw coming. Former Gambino crime family member Joseph D'Angelo admitted that the killers were actually present at his request that night, meant to serve as protection for his property. His plan accidentally created the very confrontation that killed Yusef Hawkins. The mob, the guns, the baseball bats. It was never just about a girl. There was organized crime connected to that street corner the whole time. Yusef Hawkins was 16 years old. He wasn't a gangster. He wasn't a criminal. He was a kid from Brooklyn who just wanted to buy a used car. His death changed New York City forever. It helped elect the city's first black mayor. It sparked a racial reckoning that echoed for decades. But for his mother, Diane Hawkins, no amount of history changes one simple truth. Her son never came home. To this day, she says, "I believe more people should have been locked up and put behind bars." And she's right. This has been Street Chronicles TV. Real stories, raw truth, redemption. Subscribe and join the Chronicle. But the story of Yusef Hawkins didn't end on that street corner in Bensonhurst. His death became a turning point for an entire city. Just months after Yusef was murdered, New York City elected David Dinkins as its first ever black mayor. Many historians believe the outrage over Yusef's death directly influenced that election. One innocent life, one moment of pure hatred, changed the political landscape of the most powerful city in the world. His mother, Diane Hawkins, never stopped fighting, never stopped speaking his name, never let the city forget what happened to her son on that August night. And Joseph Fama, the man who pulled the trigger, sat behind bars for over 20 years before being released. Many people in Brooklyn felt that wasn't nearly enough. But here's what I need you to take away from this story. Yusef Hawkins wasn't a statistic. He wasn't a headline. He was somebody's son, somebody's brother, a teenager with dreams and a whole future ahead of him. And he was stolen from this world simply because of the color of his skin. That's the reality of these streets. That's the truth that Street Chronicles TV is here to tell. Because these stories deserve to be heard. These names deserve to be remembered. Rest in power, Yusef Hawkins. This has been Street Chronicles TV. Real stories, raw truth, redemption. If this story moved you, hit that subscribe button. Because we're just getting started. I'll see you in the next Chronicle.